Alright, so first thing, solving the equations. Anyone brave enough to come up to the board and show me how they did the warm-up number 1? Alright, Caitlin, let's see what you got.
So here.
Okay, so one thing I'm going to say, Caitlin, before you go farther, you did minus 2a from 6a.
Oh, I meant plus.
Good.
Sorry.
So what I should be seeing is, when you're doing your warm-up, looks like Caitlin went ahead and saw like terms on the same side of the equal sign. When they're on the same side of the equal sign, you combine them. So 6a, and there's a plus 2a, so she combined them. We have 8a minus 3 equals 13. She's getting rid of the minus 3 by adding 3 to both sides. So 8a equals 16. Dividing by 8, a would equal 2. Very good job. A equals 2. Okay, Caitlin, I'll give you a dum-dum in a second. Can someone do number 2 for me? Joshua, you think you got it?
I definitely got it.
You click the blue and let's switch colors. That's blocked right next to it.
This one?
We'll pick up the pen and then click it.
Oh.
Yeah. Alright, go ahead. Let's see, this one has a distributing in it. Let's see if we can do it correctly. Good.
Yeah.
4 times the n is 4n. 4 times the 2 is plus 8.
Yeah, I'm doing this right?
Yeah, Josh.
This doesn't look right. Did I do something wrong? Did I do something wrong here?
Well, let's see. He has.
Yeah.
Well, let's go through and see if he made a mistake. We have a 4n plus 8 minus n equals 11.
Yes.
And then he added an n to both of these.
And since it's on the same side.
Ooh, good.
That's, I was testing you.
Thank you, Joshua. I love when people help test you. I hope everyone's listening because Joshua noticed something wasn't looking right, and Caitlin helped point out. When he had 4n and a minus n, he got rid of the minus n by adding a 4n.
That's wrong.
But that was incorrect right now because 4n and the minus n are on the same side of the equal sign. So we're just going to combine those terms. It's like I'm saying 4n minus n. So you do that first. 3n plus 8 equals 11.
Yeah.
Then he's going to minus 8. 3n equals 3. N equals 1. All right. Thank you, Joshua. Caitlin, good job paying attention. So, 1 for you, 1 for you. Okay. Yesterday we gave you guys 2 equations. The linear systems of equations. And to find your answer, you had to graph them. What were some of the easy parts about that yesterday's assignment? What did you like about graphing to find your solution? Was there anything anyone liked? Brianna?
The fact that, like, if it looked like something could, like, fit, if you graphed it, it would help a lot.
Okay. Typically, like when we did this, actually we did this in my 8th grade math, and we've already done an algebra. You guys are the last class to do it. Typically, all the other classes, what they enjoyed about it was they're like, well, we've worked on graphing lines like all year. They go, so it really wasn't that hard. I just had to solve for y, then I put in my y-intercept and my slope, and I graphed 2 lines, and wherever they crossed was my answer. They go, that's easy. My answer is where the lines cross. Simple. What did you dislike about it?
So easy to get the problem wrong.
It was easy to get the problem wrong. I hate it because I struggle. I don't know why, but I struggle making sure my lines are completely straight. And then if they're not on the right point, if my lines are off just a little bit, where they cross will be off a little bit. And then my solution's incorrect. So today we're going to use a second method. You could graph, and here in a little while, in a few days, you're going to have your choice between any of our methods to solve it any way you like. So we've done graphing. Today we're going to introduce substitution. This is my favorite. I have a lot of people that if they're not paying attention, they end up hating this one because it becomes too difficult for them. They're like, oh, I don't get it. It's actually really, really simple, and we've done substitution so many times. For example, if I do 2x equals 10, let's do 2x equals y. And I tell you x equals 5. Can you find out what y equals? 10. Okay, how'd you get that so fast, Devlin? Because you put 5 in for the x, right? X is 5, so there's x. So you just went ahead and said 2, instead of 2 times x is 5. And 2 times 5 is 10, which means y equals 10. Like, simple, right? The only difference we're going to do today, instead of me saying x equals 5, I'm going to say something like x equals 5y plus 2. Would I solve it any way different? No. Devlin would still go in and say, okay, well, 2 times 5y plus 2 equals y. And Joshua showed us in our beginning how we distribute. That's what I'm doing right here. This was distribution. This one will be distribution. 2 times 5y is 10y. 2 times 2 is 4. That should be a y. And what I would do is, well, let's get my y on the same side. So I'm going to minus a y, minus a y. I'd have 9y plus 4 equals 0. I would have to minus 4. 9y equals negative 4. How do I find out what y is? Yeah, divide by, nothing hard, right? Something we've done this whole time. Divide by 9. Y equals negative 4 ninths. That's what we're going to do today. It's distributing just like we've done before. It's just instead of using one number to distribute, we're going to use a number that's a little more difficult. We're going to push your brains because you guys are 8th graders, almost ready to be freshmen in high school. This is Algebra 1A. And to be honest, most times in real life, when I use this and I'm substituting things around, it doesn't just say, ooh, it's a 2 and you get a 10. It's not that easy. So, we're going to solve for the, look at that. It's like too big for me for a mathematician. So, by the variable. So, 3x plus 6y equals 15. And I want to solve for x. So, everyone, go ahead and solve for x right now. I want my answer. I want you to tell me what would x equal. So when you solve this, am I going to get an exact number? No, because I have two variables. So I know x is going to equal something. There's going to be a y on that side. But I want my final answer to be, I'm going to do it down here, x equals some kind of equation. Do you already have it? Oh, okay, let some people work real quick. Alright, so if you're struggling with any, Aiden's going ahead and he's going to start working it. So let's either see if Aiden does it right, or do we get a laugh at that?
Ha
Oh, you can't laugh yet, Devlin. He's having the guts to come up and try it.
I want to have the guts to try it. Both sides and cancel for x.
Good. I like his explanation so far. You want to solve for x, so we move this 3y to the other side.
And then you divide 3 from x.
Or 6y. You can laugh and we'll laugh at me. Alright, good job, Aiden. So your answer should match up with Aiden's. I love his explanation at the beginning. Because I'm solving for x, I'm moving my 6y to the other side of the equal sign. We minus 6y, we minus 6y. 3x equals negative 6y plus 15 divided by 3. X equals negative 2y plus 5. Okay. Oh, the next one's hard. This is a fraction. It's really not. But I want us to solve on this one for y. Does anyone here know how we solve for the second one that they're willing to come up and give it a roll? Alright, Devlin, can you try this? Make sure you explain what you're doing.
Okay. So, since it's a fraction, instead of dividing, you multiply by -2. So you do all this times -2, because it's a negative fraction, and I get negative 2x plus y equals 2.5. Is that right? Because you have to multiply everything.
Well, hold on. Did you move your... Do I have y all by itself
wait,
yet?
No, I did that one. I went to the game.
I'd erase... Okay, hold on. Erase the whole thing first. I am going to say what you're kind of doing is going to be okay.
10. I did it. Okay, then you subtract y.
Oh, you broke my one note.
Come on. Yeah, what? I thought you liked technology.
Alright, let me finish up on this one. So, if we look at this one, now, I'm going to clean it up just a little. Now, what I would do, and Devin, I'll show yours real quick, because yours will work how you're doing it. But, what I would do first is what Aiden said last time. I'm solving for y. Get it alone on its side of the equal sign. So I only want a y. So I'm going to go ahead and minus 4x on both sides. I'm just going to do that first. And then I would have negative 1/2 y equals negative 4x plus 5. Then, like Devlin said, he understood how to work a fraction. Since I was multiplying y by negative 1/2, we undo a fraction by multiplying by the reciprocal. Because it's a negative, I'm going to times by a negative to get a positive y. And it was 1/2. So the reciprocal of 1/2 is 2 over 1, or just 2. So I have to take this whole thing times negative 2. In my answer, these two would cancel each other out. Negative 2 times negative 1/2 is a positive 2 over 2, which is just a positive 1. So I would have just y. Negative 2 times negative 4x is going to give me 8x. Negative 2 times 5 is negative 10. So we would have y equals 8x minus 10. Your method was working. You were just going to move the 8 over there. Your 8x over. It would have been 5.
I want to go again, so that one note doesn't kick me out.
Alright. This is one of the biggest things that you're going to have to do today. You are going to have to solve for this. Now, solving linear systems with substitution. Step 1, I don't know why it zoomed in so much, is to solve one of the equations for one of its variables, just like we did. You can choose either equation. Today we're going to look at why we choose which equation we do. We usually choose the easier one. When possible, solve for the variable that has a coefficient of 1 or negative 1. The reason we do that is because then I don't have to divide by anything. Second step is to substitute the expression from step 1 into the other equation, solve for the variable, And step 3 is substitute the value from step 2 into the revised equation and solve. Sounds really confusing, but it's really, really simple. So, here's what we're going to do. I'm going to look at just system 1 right now. We're not caring about this. I have two equations. 2x plus 3 equals y, or 3x minus 8y equals 21. The first thing I want to do is solve for either x or y in either one of the equations. Which equation and which variable should I solve for? Should I solve for x and 2x plus 3 equals y? Sure. Should I solve for y in this one? Should I solve for x and 3x minus 8y equals 21? Or solve for y? Which one do you think would be my best decision? Thank you. The very first one's already solved for us, so why am I going to do extra work?
Why?
They told me. Why? Yeah, why?
Why?
So I'm just going to rearrange this.
Why?
Now, here's what I was talking to you about in the very beginning. So Alexander has already said, hey, we have y alone, so I'm done. What I am going to do is instead of y, I will say 2x plus 3. This is how you do your substitution. Just like I told you earlier, x equals, what did I say, 5 on that example. And we substituted that in. Devlin subbed that in. So instead of a y, I'm going to put in 2x plus 3. You have to go to your second equation. This was my first equation, and since I'm substituting with this one, you just have to substitute in the other one. So the next equation I'm going to rewrite. 3x, and you should be doing this with me, 3x minus 8y. Oop! I'm not going to say y anymore. What am I saying instead of y? I am saying, instead of saying y, I will be saying 2x plus 3. And that equals 21. That is our substitution. So instead of writing a y down, I already told you I'm taking y out. I'm going to erase this so we can see this visually better. Instead of saying y, I will be saying 2x plus 3. So I rewrote the equation, and now all we're going to do is solve. I forget who showed us, Joshua, how to do the distribution.
Yeah.
What am I distributing, by the way?
Negative.
Thank you. Negative 8. Not just 8, there's a negative sign with it. So it'd be 3x. Negative 8 times 2x is negative 16x. Negative 8 times 3 is negative 24. Now, first thing I would do is look for like terms. Do we have any terms that are the same? Yeah, we have a 3x and a negative 16x. So I'm going to combine those first and get negative 13x minus 24 equals 21. I'm going to move my 24, so I'm going to add 24 to both sides of my equal sign. And we'll have negative 13x equals 45. I'm going to divide by negative 13. And I would get x equals negative 45 over 13. Did I do anything wrong? Because I'm confused why they give us a hard fraction. Maybe they did. 8 times 2 is 16. 24. 3 minus. I did that right, didn't I? Negative 13. minus 24, 24, 45.
You did it right.
Alright, so I got it right. Now here's the tricky part, and this is the part people hate. Do I know what x equals? Yeah, we have x's answer. It's right here. X equals negative 45 over 13. Do I know what y equals?
Equals 2x plus 3.
Well, yeah, but do we have a given number for it?
No, we can't.
We can't. How?
By replacing x with negative 45 over 13.
So now I'm going to go back to my first equation. This is the second substitution. So mainly we're going to substitute twice. Now that I know what x is, I'm going to go back to my original problem here. And I'm going to say y. Look at that funky y. I'm going to fix that.
Good thinking.
Y equals 2x. Well, what is x? Negative 45 over 13 plus 3. And we solve that equation. Negative 45 over 13, if I multiply that, would be negative 90 over 13 plus 3. I feel like I screwed something up from that. I don't see a mistake though. Then 3, I'm going to change into a fraction since we're adding fractions. 3 is the same as 39 over 13. Okay, I'm kind of helping you with this one. And when we do negative 90 plus 39, we get 51 over 13 to the negative. So y equals negative 51 over 13. I know. I swear I made some stupid mathematical mistake because I don't know why they give us a hard one like that.
Check.
We could, but I'm just going to do the next one. I see everything correct though. So what I'm going to do is we're going to do the next one. Okay? We're going to do the same thing. So look at system 2. Which one of these equations do I want to solve for the variable? Does any of our variables have a coefficient of 1? Don't trip over things. Someone, you guys have been participating pretty good. Actually, Alexander, you told me this last time, so what did you get this time?
On the item 1, x is on which has 1.
Okay, so I have x plus 6y equals 11. I only have 1x, so we're going to solve for that. I'm going to minus 6y on both sides. And I'm going to have x equals negative 6y plus 11. That is going to be what I'm going to substitute in for x. All we're doing is substituting it. So I'm going to go to my first equation. And we're going to rewrite it. 5. And instead of x, we would write in what we're substituting in. X is negative 6y plus 11. And then you finish the rest of the equation. Plus 8y equals 19. And this is just a long equation. Mainly all this is solving a longer equation that we've done. We distribute. I'd get negative 30y plus 55. And we leave the rest at plus 8y equals 19. Well, here is like terms on the same side of the equal sign. So that'd be negative 22y plus 55 equals 19. All I'm doing right now is solving for my variable. And notice, the reason we do substitution is now I only have one variable in my equation. We got rid of the second one. I would minus 55. I'd have negative 22y equals 19 minus 55. Ooh, what? No, not negative 36. 36? I think so. Yeah, negative 36. And then we solve that by dividing by a negative. 22, negative 22. Y equals, these will become positive, negative divided by negative. And can I simplify this? Yeah, let's simplify it. Divide by 2 would be 18 over 11. So we would now know that y equals 18 over 11.
Where did you get negative 22?
Because I did negative 30 plus 8. We had negative 30y plus 8y. So you have to combine your like terms. Now, what am I going to do with that 8 11ths?
Replace the y in the question you used to in the second question.
Right.
Replace y with it.
Right there. So I'd replace this equation. X equals negative 6. Instead of y, we say 18 over 11 plus 11. We go ahead and solve that. 18 times is going to be x equals negative 108 over 11. And I'm going to make 11 a common fraction. I really don't get why our examples are with fractions. I know we'll have fractions, we got to understand them. I feel like on your homework today, they don't always come out to a fraction. Don't think they always have to. 11 to get the common denominator would be 121 over 11. And so I would get that to be, what, 13 over 11. So x equals 13 11. I promise. I know for sure on your test and some of the things that we do not make everything a fraction. We make it so it comes out kind of even. Kind of disappointed that these were fractions. I forgot about that. But this is the way we're solving it. So we have other ones just like this. We're going to be out of time because I know this takes a while to do. What I will do for you, I am going to give you homework, but what I'm going to do is I will finish recording this, showing how to do the rest of these problems, and I'll put it on the link so you can watch it. Your homework, I am going to give you 7.2. Even? Alright. We'll make it that you'll do only the evens on it. Now, before we stop,